In your Venus position, you have the Chief of Shields, and this is the King of Pentacles, which is fixed earth. This is Taurus energy. So in your relationships, you might just be feeling a little bit stuck, right? Or you might be feeling stuck in terms of like your career or your business or how you make your money. You know what I mean? You might be feeling like there's something that may have like gotten to its level of maturity, right? Something has reached its level of growth or its level of like dependability, right? Because the Chief of Shields is very dependable. He's a very trustworthy person. You can rely on him. So, you know, I'm getting that, you know, being able to rely on people is what's going to bring you pleasure, right? This is going to make you feel like things are like more harmonious in your life. So it's kind of like you might be feeling responsible for, you know, someone's experience, or you might be feeling responsible for, you know, what is being made or what is being produced, what's being built out of this experience. I feel like, you know, you might be in charge of something and you are feeling, you know, like things are kind of like difficult, or things might be a little bit slower just because like you are dealing with something on your own, kind of. You might even be feeling like you might be restricted just due to marginalization, or just in terms of like the materials that you are using, the knowledge, or not the knowledge that you have, the materials that you're using, and kind of like the time as well. You know, Taurus is fixed earth, so it kind of like is stubborn about something changing. So you might be feeling stubborn about something that you want to change that will bring more pleasure to you, but it's because you don't want to change some aspect of your reality that might be wanting to be changed or wanting to be shifted. Because the Chief of Shields, he doesn't really like to make adjustments because he is fixed. He just wants things to be the way that they were meant to be, and that's kind of like you know, creating an obstacle for yourself, because like, what is the way that things were meant to be? You know what I mean? Things are the way that you you know, that you assert them, right? It's kind of like the amount of energy or the amount of effort or the amount of intention that you put into something is going to get you something out of it that's going to match that energy or the effort that you put into it. You know what I mean? The Taurus is kind of like fine with being uncomfortable if it's something that kind of has been going on for a while. So, you know, Taurus does have the ability to become complacent emotionally, right? The moon is exalted in Taurus. But, you know, within getting comfortable with your environment, right, you might begin to miss some things because you are so focused on what it is that already is. You may not be able to see the things that are possible, you know what I mean? And that's something with Taurus, right? Because Taurus is talking about institutions, and it's talking about belief systems that we share or that you share with others, you know, and you could just be aligning yourself with people that are not going to be, you know, a part of this, you know, this career advancement. I don't know where I'm getting that. That's what I'm getting. Okay. In your energy moving forward in the outcome, you have the Two of Pentacles, which is actually Mercury and Virgo. Mercury right now is in Leo, but it actually will be going into Virgo later this month. And it will join Mars and Venus, which are conjunct there right now, right? So that's the masculine and the feminine. Those are the lovers of the zodiac, but then the lovers are also, you know, enemies, because Aries is ruled by Mars, which is, you know, kind of destruction and war and power, you know, and also it also has to do with transformation, but you know, Pluto really takes that. So something could be fulfilling for you, or you might be fulfilled in terms of like your career or your job moving forward. You know, whatever it is that you feel like you need to change, right? Because the Death card is there. And the Taurus card, you know, representative of the King of Pentacles is there. So this is fixed energy that opposes itself. You You also have the Strength card, which is another fixed energy. I don't see any, actually I see Aquarius here as well. So there's a lot of fixed energy. So there's some things that have gone unchanged for you, Virgo, that you probably need to let change, or you need to see those things happening. I feel like a lot of you have probably felt like you were just kind of like running on this wheel, maybe like a hamster wheel, right? You got the Wheel of Fortune here underneath the deck, and that talks about travel. That talks about a lot of movement, right? And it talks about the growth of something. It could be spiritual growth, or it could just be the growth of like the activity that's going on around you, or the activities that you might be attaching yourself to. Because the 10s talk about attachments, right? Because it's the 10th house, and that's ruled by Capricorn, and your codependencies are an attachment that you might have to something. So, you know, sometimes the attachment that you have might become unhealthy. It wasn't unhealthy at first, right, with this Taurus energy and the Venus placement, but then it became unhealthy because you were allowing things to go unquestioned, right? And when you didn't question those things, then you didn't see any changes happen out of that, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like it has to do with career, and it definitely has to do with personal growth, right? So this 10 is talking about personal growth as well. This is also the card that talks about money. So you might be getting a raise, or you might just be seeing an influx of money come in, you know what I mean? And it's going to bring you awareness as to the many things that might be possible, you know, because the 10 of Pentacles does talk about a lot of different possibilities, because it is mutable, so it's changeable. So you can take things that already exist and apply them or appropriate them in a different way that's going to be more beneficial, or it might make it seem more efficient. So you're looking for efficiency here, right? Because the 10 of Pentacles is talking about efficiency, because you have to be efficient when you're trying to harvest things, right? So you're seeing where the work has gotten you, and then you're benefiting from, you know, the work, the fruit of the work. This is kind of like something ripening, right? Fully. Okay, in your future position, you have the Warrior of Vessels. So Virgo, you might be dealing with a Pisces, or you guys might just be intimidated by a feeling, right, that you might be having, and you might just be feeling like, you know, intimidated by this, the responsibility of having to do something about it. You might have to close something out. You might have to finish out a project. You know, Pisces is talking about creativity, so you might be feeling intimidated by something that you are creating, right? That might have to do with some kind of like artistry. You know, this card is also 1/3 of Aquarius, so this is talking about gaining some perspective, right? And the perspective that you gain is actually going to help you finish out this process, or the process is going to help, or finishing out the process is going to help you gain some perspective, and then it's going to help you see where you can move forward from here. You know what I mean? You might have to make some sacrifices, and you might have to, you know, I don't know. This is saying that you might have to release some aspect of your creativity, or you might have to forfeit something, or you might have to just give in to whatever obstacle it is that might be challenging you emotionally, and maybe even just give in to the challenge and be up for the challenge, you know what I mean, and not let your emotions get the best of you when you're faced with this challenge. That really is what it is, because, you know, sometimes with that Pisces energy, that challenge makes you feel like, oh my God, I don't want to have to go through all of that, because it's going to like create disharmony and displeasure. But it's like, you know, once you get to that place, and once you get through the disharmony, and once you get through the displeasure, then you're going to be able to feel that emotional fulfillment that you were actually looking at the whole time. You know what I mean? You were like staring off at it from a distance, but then now you'll be in that perspective. Right? You won't be looking at it from a distance. You actually be in it. Okay? And then at the top of the reading, you have the Ace of Pipes, which is the Ace of Wands, and that's talking about high energy levels and potency that are going to help you, you know, assert yourself and push through, so that you can actually draw the line. You can make the connection. You can start to see where things are going to develop, right? But this is also just kind of being aware of like what's happening, who you are. It's saying remember who you are and trust who you are, you know what I mean? Because the aces are talking about trust, but then it's also talking about knowing and understanding, right? And what is your concept of yourself, right? And, you know, the concept that you have of yourself is actually going to be, you know, very influential in terms of like what you do from that, right? Because who you are determines what you do, and what you feel like you can do, what you feel like you're capable of doing. You know what I mean? So really it's just about you doing what it is that you feel like is true to you, and not really holding on to those things that you felt like were slowing you down or holding you back or making you question what you felt like you were capable of anyway. You know what I mean? Don't be intimidated by your own creativity, okay?